Hello dear students, welcome to another class of biology sessions. Today we shall be continuing with a very important chapter from biology, that is, how do organisms reproduce. In the previous session we had seen about the different methods of asexual reproduction as well as sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Today we shall study about the human reproduction. We'll quickly begin with the male reproductive system. The male reproductive system consists of a pair of testes that are located outside the abdominal cavity in a sac-like structure called as scrotum. What does it mean? So, the main difference between the male and the female system is that male reproductive system is located outside the body while the female system is located within the body. The reason for this being the production of sperms. We shall see into this now. So, the most important reproductive part is the testis. So, we have a pair of testes that is located outside the abdomen cavity. In a sac-like structure, as you can see, this is the testis. It is present in a sac-like structure and the structure is called as the scrotum. Now, what is the function of scrotum? The scrotum makes sure that it maintains the low temperature of the testis. You already know that testis has a very important function of producing the sperms. Now, the production of sperms requires low temperature. If the body temperature is around, let us say 36 degrees Celsius, 37, that is the normal, 37 degrees Celsius, then the production of sperm requires 1 to 2 degrees Celsius lower than the normal body temperature. So that is why the sperms cannot be produced within the human body. That's why they are placed outside. So this temperature maintenance job is done by the scrotum. Very important. Next, we have the pipe coming out of the testis. This is called as the duct. Ducts are nothing but pipes. We don't call them pipes as such, but these are ducts. Now, the ducts are mainly used for transportation. The sperms that are produced by the testis have to be transported from the testis to the tip of the penis. So, we have this duct coming out. There are many ducts, but you are supposed to study only one, that is vas deferens. So, vas deferens is a duct that transports the sperms. Very important. Coming to the next part of the male reproductive system is the glands. So, we have few glands here. The most important of them being the prostate gland and the seminal vesicle. So, these are the seminal vesicles. And this is the prostate gland. Now, both seminal vesicles and prostate gland have a very important function, that is production of fluid. Now, this fluid is called as seminal plasma. So, what happens is the sperms, once they leave the tip of the penis, they have a long journey ahead. They have to swim towards the female egg, as we shall see later on. So, since they have to swim, they need a lot of energy. And this energy is provided by the seminal plasma. And the seminal plasma is the secretion of the seminal vesicle. So, the sperm, that is the gamete cells, along with the liquid, that is the seminal plasma, together constitute another fluid which we call as the semen. So, the semen is a combination of the sperm and the seminal plasma. Moving on to the next part of the male reproductive system is the male external genitalia, also known as the penis. Now, what is present inside the penis? This is the second difference between the male and the female reproductive system. The female reproductive system, we have two separate openings for the reproductive purposes and for the passage of urine. Whereas in case of male, both reproduction and the passage of urine, that is excretion, takes place by a single opening, the opening of the urethra. So, the urethra extends from the top till the bottom of the penis. Same passage is the passage of sperms. So as you can see here, the vas deferens that comes out of the testis ascends upwards, it loops over this another pipe. Now if you remember, pipe is nothing but the ureter and this structure is nothing but the bladder. So the bladder that stores the urine gets the urine from the ureter and the ureter goes to the kidney. So the ureter carrying the urine and the vas deferens carrying the sperms both open here, and from then they proceed together. So there is a common pathway for the passage of sperm as well as urine in case of males. This is called as the urinogenital system. After this, we are supposed to study the function of penis. The function of penis is nothing but facilitates the insemination. What is insemination? In means inside. Semination is release of sperms or the semen. So insemination is nothing but the process by which the semen is released from the penis of the male into the vagina of the female. So that is with the help of penis. There we have covered the most important parts of the male reproductive system and their function. Of this, even more important is the testis, the scrotum, the vas deferens and the glands, seminal vesicle and the prostate gland. All of them can be asked for 2 marks as functions, the functions of the parts. Coming to the next system, that is a female reproductive system. The female reproductive system. What does it contain? What are the most important parts and their functions? When we talk about female reproductive system, the first most important part is the female sex organ, that is nothing but the ovary. We have a pair of ovaries located on the left and the right side, which have a very important function, that is the production of the egg or the ovum every month. So in females, pair of ovaries are present and their function is to produce the egg or the ovum. Along with that, the female sex hormone, that is nothing but the estrogen. Just like how testis produces the sperms and the testosterone, similarly the ovaries in female produce the eggs and the estrogen hormone. Coming to the next part, attached to the ovary is a duct, and this duct is called as the oviduct. Ovi means the egg or the ovum and duct is a pipe. So the pipe for the passage of egg that is released by the ovary. So this is the pipe and this is called as the oviduct, also known as the fallopian tube. Coming to the next part of the reproductive system is the uterus. So uterus is the place where the fetal development takes place. For the 9 months after the mother has conceived, the baby develops in the uterus of the mother. It is also known as the womb of the mother. Coming to the next part is this, that is cervix. And attached to the cervix is another part called the vagina. The function of cervix and vagina is most essentially for the passage of sperms, where the sperms have to swim through the female reproductive system and they have to reach the oviduct, as we shall see in the next part. So these are the most important parts of the female reproductive system, students. That is the function of ovary, the function of oviduct, the function of uterus. 3 of them are very, very important, a must-know question. Coming to the next part, that is how fertilization takes place in human beings. So during the sexual intercourse, the male inserts the penis into the vagina of the female and then he releases the semen. Now we shall quickly revise. The semen contains 2 things, the sperms as well as the seminal plasma. So the semen is released into the female reproductive system. The sperms, millions of sperms, travel through the female reproductive system and they reach the oviduct or the fallopian tube. Meanwhile, the ovary has already produced the egg. Let us say the ovary has already produced the egg and the ovary has released the egg. So the egg is already waiting here and from here the sperms are coming. The sperms and the egg meet, students. This is known as fertilization. So fertilization is a process in which the male and the female gametes fuse, they combine. The male gametes in humans are the sperms and the female gametes in humans are the egg. So the sperm and egg combine, just like pollen grain and the egg in plants. Similarly, the sperms and the eggs in humans, they combine with each other and they form a new structure which is called as zygote. So the zygote is formed here in the oviduct. Now this zygote is a single-celled structure. Yes, we all begin our life as a single-celled structure, that is zygote. So the zygote now divides to form 2 cells. 2 divide to form 4, 4 divide to form 8, and the process continues until we have a multicellular structure, and this multicellular structure is called as embryo. The development of the zygote into embryo is called as embryogenesis. Embryo is the embryo, genesis is the production. The production of embryo from the zygote is called as embryogenesis. The embryo, once it is formed, it gets transferred to the uterus and it gets attached to the uterus. This is called as implantation. Implantation is a process by which the embryo gets attached to the lining of the uterus or the uterine lining. Once this happens, next for the 9 months, the embryo slowly develops into fetus. For 9 months, that is called as the gestation period, the fetus slowly develops. It develops heart, it develops the limbs, slowly the brain development takes place. All the organs are formed for 9 months, students. And after 9 months, when the baby is finally ready, when the fetus is fully developed, a signal is sent to the brain. And the brain starts to send a hormone, that is oxytocin. Once the hormone reaches the uterus, it makes the uterus contract its muscles. So the muscles of the uterus start contracting. The mother gets the pain. What happens next? The baby is then pushed out of the uterus. That is nothing but the delivery of the baby. In scientific terms, we call it parturition. So the baby is pushed out of the uterus because of the contraction of muscles of uterus. And that is how a baby is born. So in this topic, the most important questions that you should know is definition of fertilization, definition of embryogenesis, implantation. These are the 3 most important points that is asked. Apart from this, the entire process is a must-know question as well, because any sub-question can be asked from this topic. With that, we have finished reproduction in humans. Next, we will move on to the most important topics related to reproduction. That is the first one, contraception. What is contraception? It is nothing but prevention of pregnancy. So now that we know how pregnancy actually happens, we should also know the methods to prevent it in case the couple doesn't want a baby. There are 4 main methods to prevent pregnancy. First one, we call it as the barrier method. So we have the barrier method. Now, as the name itself indicates, in barrier method, a barrier is physically preventing the meeting of egg and sperm. Now we know the zygote or the fertilization happens because of the meeting of egg and sperm. Suppose egg and sperm never meet, there will be no zygote. So how do you prevent this meeting? By using a barrier. What are the barriers that are available? Condoms, diaphragms, cervical caps, all these are the different barriers. We have barriers for both men and women, but the condoms are the most commonly used methods of contraception because it is user friendly and it provides privacy to the user. So it is the most preferred method. Coming to the second method of contraception, that is chemical method by the use of pills, oral pills. So the pills are taken by the female through her mouth. So we call it as oral pills. This has to be done by the female. What do these oral pills do? The pills contain chemicals, estrogen, progesterone. These hormones cause an imbalance once they enter the body of the female. And when there is an imbalance, the release of egg by the ovary is suppressed. That is, the eggs are not released by the ovary. As a result, even if the sperm does enter the reproductive system, there is no egg in the oviduct. So pregnancy will not take place. But at the end of the day, chemicals are chemicals. Oral pills have their own set of side effects. Coming to the third method of contraception, that is IUDs. IUD stands for intrauterine devices. Intra means inside, uterine means uterus, and device. So inside the uterus, these IUDs are placed and they kill the sperms. The most important or the most common example for IUD is copper T. It is written as CUT. So copper is commonly used in IUDs because copper has spermicidal effects, or it kills the sperms. That is why copper is an IUD. We have many other IUDs, but most important copper T. Coming to the fourth method of contraception is surgery. Now this method can be only performed by a doctor. So these methods are not commonly used. Earlier, surgery method was irreversible. Once it is done, it couldn't be reversed. But nowadays, it can be reversed. So what is this surgery method? We already know that for the transport of the egg from the ovary, a pipe is required and this duct is called as oviduct. Similarly, in case of men, for the transportation of sperms, we need a pipe or a duct which is called as the vas deferens. So we simply cut and tie the ends of vas deferens, or we cut and tie the ends of oviduct. What happens as a result? Even though the egg is produced by the ovary, it will not be transported. Similarly, even though the sperms are produced by the testis, they will never reach the penis because the vas deferens is cut. So there will be no fertilization happening. And this is the surgery method. The vas deferens being cut and tied is called as vasectomy. Tomy is cutting. So vasectomy, and the fallopian tube or the oviduct being cut and tied is called as tubectomy. The tube is cut and tied. So these are the different methods of contraception. Next, we'll go to the STDs. STDs stand for sexually transmitted disease. A very important question. What are sexually transmitted diseases? The diseases that are spread only through sexual contact are called sexually transmitted diseases. The most important being AIDS, that is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. AIDS. Other examples are syphilis, gonorrhea. All these are sexually transmitted diseases. AIDS is caused by a virus which is called as HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. Please note these down, students, very important, full forms. AIDS stands for acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, while HIV stands for human immunodeficiency virus. Coming to the next important question. Which method of contraception will prevent STDs? Very important. Are STDs preventable? Yes. How can we prevent STDs? By the use of condoms. So since condoms do not allow the entry of the semen into the female reproductive system. So even if the male has any STD, say AIDS, let us say the male is AIDS positive, meaning he will have the virus HIV in his system, even in the semen. So since the semen is not at all entering the female reproductive tract, because of the condom, the female will not get the disease. So condoms can prevent STDs. But what about other methods? Can oral pills, IUDs, surgery prevent STD? Definitely no. So students usually get confused. Contraception method is a method to prevent pregnancy, not STD. To prevent STD, we have one method, that is the use of condoms. Next important question that comes from this topic is placenta. What is placenta? What are the functions of placenta? Placenta is a physiological connection between the mother and the fetus. So the mother, that is her uterus, and the fetus gets attached during implantation. Once the implantation has happened, the placenta of the mother takes up the job of feeding the fetus, giving nutrition to the fetus, giving oxygen to the fetus, removing the carbon dioxide produced by the fetus, removing the waste produced by the fetus, and also providing immunity to the fetus. All these functions are performed by placenta. Very important. Supply of oxygen, supply of nutrients, removal of waste, removal of carbon dioxide, and immunity to the fetus are the functions of placenta. Lastly, we shall see about the menstrual cycle. What is menstrual cycle? We already know that the ovary every month produces one egg without fail. So when the ovary produces egg every month, not every month there is sperm coming in, correct? Let us say the female is unmarried or the female is not having any sexual intercourse. So there will be absence of sperm, but the egg is nevertheless released and it will be waiting in the oviduct. What happens to this egg if there is no sperm or if the egg is not fertilized? This egg will be then thrown out of the body. It will be broken down and it will be thrown out of the body along with the lining of the uterus. What is this? So every month as the egg is released by the ovary, the uterus also prepares itself for the baby because it is expecting a baby. So the uterus prepares the lining which acts like a bed. We already know that the baby develops in the uterus. So uterus prepares a lining for the development of the baby. So when there is no fertilization, that is when there is no sperm coming, no baby development, the uterine lining is useless. So what happens? Along with the egg that is produced, the lining of the uterus breaks down and they come out through the vagina in the form of blood and mucus. This is called as menstrual cycle. So the female, since she is producing one egg every month, she bleeds once every month, or she has to undergo one menstrual cycle every month. Now this is a normal female. The length of the menstrual cycle can be anywhere between 25 to 40 days. For some females, it can be 20 days. For some female, the menstrual cycle can be up to 40 days. So, during each cycle, for the first 3 to 5 days, the female bleeds. And then the process repeats itself. The ovary releases the egg. The uterus prepares the lining until the next cycle. So what happens during the next cycle? There is no sperm coming in. That is why the uterine lining breaks down. The egg breaks down. It comes out in the form of blood and mucus. Again, the second cycle continues. So these are the most important questions, students, from the male and the female reproductive system. I hope you have listed down. I hope you have understood and you are now well prepared. Please do keep studying. Please do keep working hard. Make us proud. Thank you, students. Have a nice day.